What is going on, people? It's Matt from LiquidLoans. In this one, I have a content creator who's up and coming. He's creating some great content on PulseChain, on Hex. He's really getting involved in the community. So I'm excited to bring him on, have a chat, find out more about him and his predictions for PulseChain and all that good stuff. So with no further ado, let me intro Mr. Jake Sharpe.
Let's go.
Let's go. What's going on, buddy? Welcome to the stream.
Happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And what about you?
Man, you're cranking out the content on the regular, which is great. You're doing a good service for the PulseChain and Hex community. How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I've been in the community for a while. I've been in the community for roughly a year and a half. I only started. I was sharing stuff on Twitter under an anonymous account, but a month ago I started a YouTube channel. I just hired a team for the YouTube channel as well. So my goal is to scale our ecosystem because we're saving people.
So what made you come out from being Anon and then coming out into the public?
Because I realized it's also self-interest, right? Because I'm very interested in this ecosystem. One, it's also whenever I talk with like crypto, with my friends about crypto, I always end up speaking for like 18 hours and getting all of them in. I'm like the biggest probably super bull on crypto you can ever meet in your life. The moment I start talking, I cannot shut up about crypto. So I was like, okay. And every one of my friends is like, dude, you're almost a genius when it comes to this. You need to like start sharing stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I'm not really interested in it, So I just started, and yeah, my YouTube channel has been growing super fast. It's kind of cool.
So how long has it been going now?
33 or 34 days.
Wow. So super fast. But yeah, man, you're cranking it out. You're doing lives, and I know you're doing some great stuff. I've seen you with Haunted. You've done some moon math stuff, which I want to get into for sure. But I know your background. You're a dev, right? You're a software dev and a crypto dev. Is that right?
Yep. So I'm full-time crypto now. I used to be a full-time entrepreneur. And before that, I was a lead software engineer at multiple startups. So I essentially taught myself how to program. I literally taught myself how to program. I didn't learn it in school. I locked myself in the room, and for 3 months, I literally taught myself how to code. Wow. And the first position I had was instantly as a lead software engineer, which does not happen. But apparently, I'm incredibly good at learning. So that was my first position. Just lead, go at it. And I started managing software teams and stuff like that.
But then, so were you went into crypto when you started doing software? You were just doing developing apps and stuff. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were doing like apps, web apps, database stuff for like big conglomerate companies. That was the thing, because we were like kind of, how do you say it, a development firm? Yeah. So that was most of the startups. And one startup was kind of, the development was in-house for their thing, but most of it was usually software teams and that do it for other companies. That was mainly the experience, because then you have a lot to work with.
Yeah, for sure. So then how did you get into crypto?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. So with the software engineering, after that, I was like, okay, I want to do this entrepreneurship thing. So I started a marketing agency because I've always been very good at marketing, as you could probably tell by my growth. This is without any kind of ads, zero money spent. And I started the marketing agency. First, we started working with local businesses. And then all of a sudden, we got a crypto training client. Not trading, but training, education client. And we built whole conversion mechanisms to get their people into the training. So we built a webinar and stuff like that. But that's when I first got introduced to crypto. That was 2017. And I was like, this crypto thing is very interesting. But I was like, can I swear on the stream?
Yeah, I mean, let's not go crazy. But yeah, you can.
I'll try,
let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. So I was balls deep into my business at that point. So I was like, okay, this crypto thing is interesting. I'll keep it on the radar. And then everything in 2020 just kind of indicated to me that, okay, this is a time to go all in on crypto. So I paused all of my businesses. I literally took in no more clients. I just worked with like existing clients. And 16 hours a day, I just went in crypto. For the last 2 years, it's kind of been like that. And ever since doing that, I turned full-time crypto very fast. Where, we can go into details on that. But I turned very fast into like full-time crypto because this is literally the biggest opportunity potentially of our entire lifetimes. Not financial advice, purely entertainment purposes. But my God, dude, like, I'm a Super Bowl. I think crypto could potentially not to sound dramatic, but I think it could save the world. There's a lot here that is much more than just making money, and you'll make a lot of money potentially. I need to watch the legal words.
Well, I mean, what you're saying, isn't untrue. Obviously, it's very volatile, so we can see hundreds, if not thousands, of X, especially in bull markets. But then obviously we see that volatility come down, like we're seeing in bear markets, to see Bitcoin dip under that 20,000 mark. What do you think about the current state of the markets at the moment?
I love it. This is the opportunity. Like, these are the times where because I personally have some friends who got into crypto 2018, 2019, and they got as many jobs as humanly possible, and they were accumulating throughout the entire bear market. And it wasn't a lot of money, just a couple hundred, a couple thousand here and there, They were living very frugally, but they're talking about my accent. They live very frugally, but they accumulated through the bear market, and they're multimillionaires now. Like, it's bear markets bring opportunities. We've been through worse times. We've been through World War. We've experienced 2008. And all the smart asses will come out, oh, yeah, 2008 was different and stuff like that. But the point is, the markets have suffered way worse than this, and it's always come back. So we'll be just fine. I don't worry about that. The game with the bear market is making sure that you have very realistic expectations going into the bear market, and then you'll be just fine. Don't expect to make millions of dollars now, but in the future, yep.
It's smart, man. It's smart. I mean, obviously, with investing, even long before crypto, the advice was the same, right? You want to do the opposite of what the rest of people are doing. So when people are, blood in the streets with stocks and shares and real estate, in 2008, if you had the dry powder, if you were buying up, real estate and what's not, you would have made a killing. So, yeah, I mean, it's solid advice. Obviously, everyone has to do their own research and take responsibility for what they're doing. But you said something quite interesting earlier. You said you think crypto is going to change the world, and I want to hear from you. Like, how do you think it's going to change the world?
So I think it was Richard Hart that first kind of said it on the live stream, and then it started like festering in my mind. And he basically said that crypto changes the relationship between man and government. And I think that's crazy. It gives people autonomy. You own your own keys. You become your own bank. It removes middlemen, and Richard says it a lot more intense than that, but basically it removes middlemen.
Yeah.
Meaning that there's no human emotion. The thing I love about software engineering is you can solve a problem once and it gets solved forever. There's not like a mood swing and then all of a sudden the problem doesn't get solved anymore because a human being kind of canceled the business or that doesn't work anymore. It's code. It's on a blockchain. It's no middleman. It's you interacting with code. If it's done correctly, most things are not done correctly, admin keys and stuff like that. But if it's through DeFi, through crypto, you essentially become your own bank. You become disconnected from the government. Of course, pay your taxes and stuff like that. Definitely pay your taxes. Don't get wrecked. But you gain complete autonomy, and it's pure freedom. Because I have a friend that did 90 grand in profit. He wanted to buy a nice car. So he sent it to an exchange. He off-ramped it into his bank. And his bank has frozen his account for the last 4 months, and there's no end in sight.
Wow.
It's your own money.
Ouch.
That guy worked for that money. He put time in, and then the bank's like, nah, that's not going to happen. And you basically send it to their wallet. It's their money. You just have an IOU on. Hopefully they get my money back. But I don't like banks. I use them for my business and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it brings the power back to the people.
100%. I mean, the fact that I could send you $100 now without banks or the government is just so liberating. Like, I think, a year ago or so, my brother was transferring some money to me from his bank account to my bank account. And it wasn't even a lot. It was like £1,000 here. So it's like about $1,300 US. And, it's not $5 or $10, but it's still not tens of thousands, right? And they blocked it, and we had to call up, and they're like, what are you doing? And, it's just stupid, man. Like, it's your money. And I mean, especially we have all these DeFi products, right? Obviously, PulseChain's coming down the pipe. And it's just so exciting, man, to be in the driving seat and not have to be, as Richard likes to say, sucking that middleman D.
Yep. So I'll actually give you a crazy story when it comes to like the freedom. So with the business, I used to have like virtual assistants that worked in like the Philippines, and they loved it because they can work at home. They make above average wage. They can spend all the time with their family. But basically, whenever you had to pay them, I had to send money to my bank account. Then I had to send it to another bank account, which then sent it to another bank account, which then they had to pick up in cash because otherwise they wouldn't get it. And it's, come on, dude. And in crypto, it's just like, what's your address? Boom, done. And half of the time he would have like these weird things, and the money would get hold up, and like it's, especially for third world countries, crypto is game changing, and Ethereum is basically pushing things up their ass, basically. But that's why I believe in PulseChain. That's also, I think I put out a tweet where I'm basically like, PulseChain is about a lot more than just crypto. It's about a lot more than just money. Because on PulseChain, you'll be able to send transactions across the world, which was the initial point of Ethereum and Bitcoin. But you can send your crypto across the world without paying like freaking $75 and gas fees and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think PulseChain is crypto done right. And I've done the math and stuff like that. Like PulseChain will be around for a very long time at very low fees. Yeah.
100%. I mean, like we're talking about, crypto is the future for sure, but at the moment it's broken, right? We have Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have chains like Solana that are just going down consistently. We have Cardano, which has been a promise for 5 or 6 years. So PulseChain, what a great segue into PulseChain. Where do you think we are with it? Do you think it's 4 more weeks, or do you think it's going to take longer?
Yeah. So I did a live stream with Crypto Heartbeat, and a lot of people seem to like the explanation a lot. So I'll kind of repeat it. It's so when you have software engineering, you have this idea of a MVP, a minimum viable product, and that is the product that delivers the promise that is promised to the customers with the least amount of code and the least amount of complexity, so that they can start interacting and start building market penetration. And I think my guess was you had the MVP of PulseChain, and it was ready. And these are all assumptions, of course. I don't work on the team, so don't take any of my word for it. I'm just making assumptions based on my background. You have the MVP that you want to put out to the market, but you also have a list of optimizations that you think of beforehand, like, okay, this is what we can do in the future, this. And what I think happened is because Richard Hart is extremely in tune with the market, because the man likes bragging about that, which he deserves. And so they had this list of optimizations. I think PulseChain was ready. The MVP version of PulseChain was ready. And they looked at the market and they were like, okay, there's a lot of blood ahead. The Fed is like swinging their D around. As long as the Fed is in the market, this market ain't going up, boys. It's just like, okay, no matter how good the tokenomics are, no matter how good the math is, if the Fed is in the picture, the Fed dictates all economic markets. Crypto is just a leverage play on the stock market. And if the stock market goes down, we all go down, no matter how good the crypto is, no matter how good the promise is. So my point of that being is Richard Hart probably looked at the markets and was like, okay, I want to protect my people, because that's essentially what it is. I don't want to launch PulseChain now. It will have, the project narrative to it, which will push the price up and probably inflate the price a little bit because it's a new project, it's a new narrative. But after a while, PulseChain will get dragged down with the market, which we don't want. So I think he looked at the market and he was like, okay, so we have a list of optimizations that we want to do. Let's just do it now, instead of having our people hurt with the market. Because also, I think one of the things that they're doing now is they're rewriting the validator rotation in Golang. And layman's terms and like human terms, they're basically taking computational things that are happening on the blockchain off of the blockchain. So that there's more room for transactions and stuff like that to go into a block, which means that it has a lot more throughput and it can handle a lot more scalability. And that's a super good optimization. I think if they had to do that in the future, my people are commenting 777. What was the last thing that I said? You were saying that they're obviously re-optimizing the throughput of the network, because that's why your theory was they're delaying it. They had an MVP, but they were delaying it because at this time, the bear market's in, the Fed, the interest rate hike. Why not make it faster, make it, better tech, and then release it nearer the bottom? Is that correct? Yeah, exactly. So I think they're doing that. I think that's a fair assumption to make, and it's a very good one. And I think that the analogy I like giving is everybody that kind of sacrificed for PulseX, we're kind of in this scenario where like everybody knows a cold shower, right? You go into the shower and you're like, I freaking hate this. But the moment you get out of the shower, like, okay, that was good. That was a good shower. It helped me. And I feel like the sacrifice phase is that. Now we're in the cold shower and we're like, God damn, this sucks. I will get out and we're like, this was the best thing to ever happen to us. So yeah, I like that metaphor because it's like the perfect analogy. That's true, dude. I have a cold shower every morning, and I have a 3-minute cold shower. And every morning I'm like, I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this. And the first minute you're like, oh, and then, you relax into it. And then afterwards you feel amazing, man. It boosts your testosterone. You feel like you've overcome the day already. If you can do that, then obviously you can work hard, hit your workout and what's not. So yeah, do hard stuff. And I guess we're doing hard stuff right now, right? For a year waiting for PulseChain. But in that year we've had, I think I saw a tweet the other day, over 100 projects are going to be launched on PulseChain now. So wild. It's going to be exciting times. And I think, a lot of discipline and patience is going to pay off.
You've done quite a bit of moon math on your channel as well about PulseChain, and everyone loves to hear moon math. So maybe we could just talk a little bit about what do you expect in the short and long term with PLS and what's not.
So I'm extremely bullish on PulseChain in the short term. Because if it launches anywhere close to the bottom of the bear market or a bit after the bottom of the bear market, which is totally good as well, it has this new project narrative to it, right? So even if the market is like recovering a little bit and Bitcoin is like, so the bottom of the bear market doesn't look like this. Whoa, we hit the bottom and we're up again. That's not how it works. That's not how markets move. You go up, you go down. I wish we go up, but you go down, and then you hit the bottom, and then you kind of accumulate. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. You have a spike, and then it goes down again. You just look at the charts of like Bitcoin and stuff, and then you have like 6 months to like of an accumulation zone that kind of holds, right? So if PulseChain launches during that narrative, it's kind of like the shining city on the hill is the things that I've kind of heard. I like that saying, where it's a new project that is. One thing I kind of like saying is, so Ethereum has existed for 7.5 years, roughly, maybe 8. And I genuinely think that the launch of PulseChain is the biggest event in crypto history ever since the start of Ethereum. I think it's that big. Because we've kind of gotten numb to the idea of PulseChain. But to recap, a system state copy of Ethereum with an AMM bot that will make PulseX the most liquid exchange on all of PulseChain, the biggest yield farming opportunity with PulseX. A lot of LPs are going to come over. The AMM bot is going to take every liquidity pool position of all the different dexes. So you have Uniswap, Bancor, 0x, OneIn, that's an aggregator. So like SushiSwap. And it's taking all of that liquidity, putting it in PulseX. We are the only crypto that has a fully vertical integration. So to kind of make that clear, there's only 3 companies kind of in the world that have that, and you all know the name. It's Apple, it's Amazon, it's Microsoft, it's Google. All of these vertical integration companies that solve all of the problems of their customers in one suite usually tend to do very well. So there's that narrative to it. It's a new project, which means it will pump even if the market goes down, because it doesn't have time to get correlated to the market because it hasn't been in the market. Then when it comes to price predictions, because of LiquidLoans, which is the channel I'm on, I kind of forgot about that. I just thought we were just talking. But LiquidLoans, so PulseX has the buy and burn. Everybody knows the math of the buy and burn. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful design mechanic. But PulseChain, everybody's like, yeah, PulseChain, that's cool. It's like a little bit deflationary. But my God, if LiquidLoans gets adopted and used safely, which we'll talk about in a bit, remind me of that, and used safely, and it's secure, this is potentially the biggest supply sink for PulseChain. It's bigger than the deflation of the actual transaction fees, because once somebody puts money into LiquidLoans and they put like 1,000% collateral, well, guess what? That's probably never going to hit the market if they like loan the dip. If they like the exact TP top and then we had like a hex type correction that we have now, okay, yeah, but then you can put new collateral in and you're still totally fine as long as you didn't use like 100% of your bag.
Yeah.
So it's a massive supply sink, this whole LiquidLoans thing, which all price is supply and demand. So you have the deflationary of the transaction fees, you have the supply sink of LiquidLoans, and then also because of Hart's law, like tokens that are linked together in the liquidity pools go up and down together because they're tradable against each other. If PulseX buy and burn really performs so well, then PulseX can push up PulseChain. And as more supply gets removed from PulseX and the more supply gets removed from PulseChain going into supply sinks, well, guess what? It's beautifully designed, and that's why you have like a vertical integration ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I'm very bullish.
Do you have any price predictions in the first 6 months, 6 months, a year?
That's super hard to base because we had a sacrifice phase, so you can't really base it off of launch things. And the people that base the launch of PulseChain off of Hex are dumb. Like the launch mechanics of Hex were like a whole different animal in and of itself. It was hyperinflationary. But PulseX and PulseChain, well, all of the supply is going to exist day one, and it's only going to be deflationary. So there's no hyperinflationary period. And I think the sacrifice prices are going to hold the price forward down very hard, because if that's so in like TA, you have like this volume spike. Usually where the volume spikes is where the support is for the actual price. So everybody bought roughly at the same price. So I think that's a very massively strong floor, which would not cause a price dump. Maybe like a wick below like sacrifice price, but I think it's going to get bought up, get up quickly. When it's not even a day. That's kind of my assumption. And then when it comes to like actual price performance, if it gets to it, I hate market cap as a metric, but like a very conservative thing is to assume that if PulseChain were to get to the market cap that Ethereum is at currently, which is after like a massive drawdown, well, that would be roughly excluding DOA. Is like so somewhere about like 250x is when I last did the calculation, but that was a couple months back. I mean, I can use it to 250x. I don't know about you guys, but I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to turn their nose down at a 250x, right?
Yep.
And as we've seen, like layer ones normally do pretty well, even if they don't do well in terms of actually delivering the goods, they do pretty well in terms of price appreciation. So I know you're super bullish on LiquidLoans. You've talked about it quite a bit. You had Haunted on. That was a great stream as well. And I know you have your own take on it. How are you planning to use the protocol?
So I kind of designed this strategy. It came after my conversation with Haunted, because he was like, I haven't really thought, like branded this kind of idea of it, and I just took it and ran with it. So you have the Haunted strategy, which all of you that watch LiquidLoans probably know, and if you don't, I have a live stream on, and they probably have a live stream on it. But the Sharpe strategy is basically this idea, and I have a stream on it as well. I think if you look up Sharpe, you'll find it, and then it's basically this idea. Okay, so let's say PulseChain goes up and up and up. And then you hit like a reflection point where the price goes down, and you have like 40%, 50% correction, which is totally normal. Now, what if you could go into LiquidLoans, loan the dip, and actually, as a community, decide where the bottom of the price is? Because what determines the bottom? If you have enough volume, you create the bottom. Like Richard Hart even said it. Like he said it like how do you say it? Below the tongue. He was like, yeah, if you want to, you could just create the bottom yourself. But he's like, crazy money. And basically,
so to be a whale or have a few whale friends together, right? Doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And then why does that create a bottom? Because there's volume at that price. So the idea of the Sharpe, I like using the visual of 300. It's like 300 people standing there, and like you will not get past this point. I like that visual. I love the movie 300. And it's basically people go into LiquidLoans, they take out a loan, 1,000% collateral, and then they go into a limit order protocol, and they set a limit order at minus 40%. So one, they're getting Pulse at a beautiful discount, and two, technical analysis-wise, people love those things. People love volume profiles of limit orders set. You see all these screenshots with like hex of like, oh, it's so many limit orders here and buy orders here. So what if we as a community can come back and say like Sharpe wall at like minus 40%, and some people do minus 50, minus 60, minus 30, but basically using LiquidLoans as a way to, at a very high collateral ratio, be able to buy more Pulse at a dip and basically put volume profiles so that we can decide how. If 1,000 people do this, the math is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. It's like bigger than the biggest whale we have. Because the numbers add up very quickly. And even if 50 people do it, it would already create a bottom. So if everybody starts setting limit orders, they pick up cheap Pulse, which is amazing. And because we have so much volume there, that will probably indicate a bottom, and then we start going up again. And then you can talk about like haunted strategy stuff, because that's kind of on the upside. Yeah. Sharpe wall is basically mitigating the downside, and as a community, we can sort of dictate the price chart while getting more Pulse at a lower price, which I would want that. I'm going to be DCAing in, even though I sacked pretty hard. I'm still going to be buying. Yeah.
Sure. It's just amazing that we have all these different strategies for different times, right? If the market's looking bearish, if it's looking bullish, if it's going sideways, we have, Hodpril strategy, we have Hexicats, we have Red Squirrel, we have yours now, the Sharpe wall, Haunted. And also, we also have a community that doesn't have paper hands, right? They come from the delayed gratification mindset, and they know that they're not looking for, a lot of people aren't looking for the 5 or 10x. They're looking for the 100, the 1,000, the 10,000. So it's just super, super interesting what's going to happen. And it's just a really exciting place to be, isn't it?
It 100% is. This community is something very unique. That's also why so as you probably know, becoming a content creator, even though you don't really think about it, you're putting your face and reputation on the line for this community. So one thing I like about this community is they support all of the creators, which is good, because I have a very strong advertising background. I used to manage like $1 million of ad spend, like millions of dollars of ad spend with the agency. And one thing you start realizing is creators create the community. It's us as content creators, Jake Sharpe as a content creator, we build a community. So the more you support the content creators, the more you comment, the more you like, the more you share their content. You essentially, I hate saying it, but I'm not going to say pump your bags, but grow the community, onboard people, because this is through crypto. This is saving people. Even if the price goes down, they get introduced to a community with some of the best educators in all of crypto.
Yeah.
So there's so many people that got into Hex at like 20 cents, and they love it because they experience the community. Yeah, you were going to say something?
No, John, I'm just going to agree with you. The community it's all about community, right? And in crypto, it's all about community, but I'm sure you've been around the block a few times, so have I in crypto, and I haven't seen anything like the Hex and PulseChain community and the streamers and the support, that everyone gives each other. And it just keeps, getting bigger and bigger. And you're right. The more support that content creators get, the more we spread the word and what's not. Because let's be honest, crypto is a minefield, a lot of it. And there are a lot of pump and dumps. There's a lot of scams, a lot of rug pulls. And when you first start, not only is it overwhelming learning all the terminology, using a hardware wallet, making sure that you don't write your seed phrase on anything digital, all that stuff. But then you got to go into these Telegram groups and people are screaming at you, this is what you should do. So, nothing's perfect in life, but Hex and PulseChain, the community is a lot calmer, a lot more mature, and definitely here for the long term compared to the average guy who thinks, I want to turn this $1,000 into $1 million overnight.
I agree. Yeah, this community is a beautiful thing. 100%.
So what's going to be your plan when PulseChain goes live? You said you're going to be DCAing in. You got any other plans?
So do I have plans? Yes. I have strategies that I'm going to be using. One includes a short wall. But the main idea is, so I have this saying, like I'm kind of trying to spread it in the community, and it's crypto is a lot more about the decisions that you do not make than the decisions that you do make. I also am a very strong believer, because all of us probably know or have heard of the entity called the God Whale. That guy made hundreds of millions of dollars with very few transactions.
I think it's 6 or 7.
Yeah. So that's the perfect example of the more decisions you make, the worse of an investor you are. Crypto is about precision. It's not about speed. It's about timing. It's not about power. So crypto, one thing I started realizing with crypto, and I realized that very early on, is that learning and education is the work in crypto. It's not trading. It's not going in and out of the market. It's educating yourself. That is the work. So a lot of people feel bad, and because a lot of people have this thing in crypto that completely wrecks themselves. So I spent like a half year to a year being like a peak performance coach for like multimillionaires. I love doing it, but it was like a kind of stupid offer. But I got like 11 clients. They were all multimillionaires. And I would do a lot of identity work. And what a lot of people have is they have this idea that they have to work for their money. And if they don't work for their money, they subconsciously start self-sabotaging themselves. So the God Whale, if the guy started doing that, he would not be the God Whale. If he was like, oh shit, I'm doing too little work, I should not deserve this money, let me trade a bit, he would not be the God Whale. So you have to start accepting in crypto that learning is the work. Being disciplined is the work. Getting educated is the work. Because even Warren Buffett says it. He makes, Jeff Bezos says it. He makes 2 to 3 good decisions per year. These are the wealthiest people in the world. They're not like, I work like 48 hours a day and I make 3,000 decisions. No, that's only the broke people that say that. The best people in the world make high leverage decisions, and they educate themselves so that when those decisions hit, they're on the ball because they've educated themselves. And I feel like that's something we need to spread in this community, because as human beings, if we don't work for something, like in crypto, if you buy the right thing at the right price, it's like buying Hex at like 1 cent and Hex at like 10 cents. That's the difference between turning $10,000 into 100,000 or $1 million, even though it's the same move. So it's stuff like that. I think I have that perspective because I used to be an engineer, and that you have to be very precise and think about everything before you act.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying earlier about code and why you love it so much, because it removes the human emotion. And we love to think, and I'm saying everyone on the planet loves to think that we're logical and we make decisions. And as you know, you're a marketer, right? it's all emotion, right? It's all emotion. It could be anything. We could be getting triggered by anything from our childhood to what our wife said, to our kids, to the weather. And then we're making decisions based on that. And markets, TA is great. It does show you where stuff goes. But of course, TA isn't going to show you everything, because one whale might wake up one day and push the sell button, you know? So yeah, just extrapolating on what you were saying about being patient, like the Godwell, I think he turned, and again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like $3,000 into 300 million through 6 or 7 transactions. That's what Walrus told me when he came on the stream before. And in life, as humans, we like to think that it's action, action, action all the time. And don't get me wrong, action has its place. You have to do stuff in life or you get nothing. But what you're saying, by being patient, by studying, by not being too short-sighted, right? And like pressing the sell button and the buy button 5 times a day. And that's obviously what exchanges, centralized exchanges, want you to do. Why? Because you get chopped up and then obviously they get fees from it. And I don't care if you win or lose, because you're going to lose in the long run, right? If you go to the casino long enough, you'll lose all your money. So I think that's a really good mindset to have, not just in crypto, in life in general. Because many times in life, I've tried to rush stuff and it hasn't worked out. And if I just took my time more, I learned more, I applied myself step by step, I would have got there faster and with a much more solid base. So is that what you saw when you were life coaching these guys?
Yeah. So when it comes to identity, like when you look at world-class athletes like Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, he's dead. Yeah, that's him. Then you have Michael Jordan, all of these like absolute goats, you know, Richard Hart, goat of crypto. But all of these people, when like if you watch like any kind of interview of like world-class athletes after the game, when they ask them, okay, how do you put in so many hours? How are you so dedicated to your craft? Well, they keep it very simple. All they say is, it's just who I am. They're not like, oh, no, I do these affirmations and stuff like that. No, it's just who I am. It's my identity.
Yeah.
And I would train them on this idea of normalization. Have you ever heard of that?
Normalization?
Normalization, yeah.
So it's
a very big thing.
Yeah, no, go ahead, tell me.
Yeah. So normalization, so what happens with a lot of people when they make a little bit of money? So depending on what point, it could be your first $100, $1,000. At some levels, it's like $1 million, $10 million. But they're like, I have never made this type of money before. This is not who I am. And that's what they say subconsciously. It's like, math does not care about dollar values. Math is percentages. If you go in with $1 million and it 10x's, well, now you have $9 million of profit. But if you go in with $1,000, now you have $9,000 in profit. Math doesn't care. It's all percentages. It's not about dollars. But a lot of people, I see this in my comments, like, oh, if I have $1 million, I'll sell so much. But it's because you don't think you deserve $1 million. So you want to wreck yourself and you want to start self-sabotaging. Yeah. Because if you just did nothing, you could potentially have, not financial advice, 8 figures, 9 figures, billionaire. You could change the world. But because you don't think you're deserving of holding that type of money, because you don't have that identity yet, you start wrecking yourself. And one of the ways you can start training yourself with this is, once you have like a move and you're like, oh, dude, I'm making super good money, do not get excited. Do not congratulate yourself. Because what does that say subconsciously? If you get excited about something, you're like, this is different for me because I get excited. But if you're just like, no, this is normal. I am a winner. This is normal for me. I deserve this type of money because I put in the work. I'm learning. I'm educating. I do self-improvement. I improve myself. So of course, this is normal for me. Of course I win. What else? Am I a loser? No, I'm a winner. So winners don't get excited when they win because for them, it's normal. It's their identity. It's who they are. And that's exercise. I might actually do like a series on this on my YouTube, because this stuff can change people's lives, dude. It changed mine. I used to be a nerd. I used to be broke. I used to be too afraid to even look a girl in the eye without like running away and crying. So I did a lot of identity work on myself, man. And that's why I'm semi-retired at 25. It's only because I've killed myself at least 12 times. Like the Jake that is sitting here is not the Jake. Like the previous Jake is dead. I've adopted so many new identities, and you do it through exercise. And I have a process called like evolution of self. But my God, that is powerful information. If any of you have like some free time, look into identity work. It will change your life on every single 100%. Aspect.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. That was it.
No, I was just saying, is you get what you expect in life. And, you know, Carl Jung, the psychologist, said it. I think the quote goes, if you don't make the subconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate for your whole life. And most people do that, right? You see most people, and it's not just in finances, in every area of their life, their health, their relationships, their career. They're just telling themselves a story. And remember, everything in the world happens in your head, right? You couldn't perceive this. Everyone watching this, listening to this is happening inside your head, right? And all we do is we tell ourselves stories like, oh, I could make this this much money, but I couldn't make that. I can date this girl, but I couldn't date that girl. You know what I mean? I can date a 7, but I couldn't date a 10. These are just stories. None of this is truth. So what you're saying is so true. When people have the identity that I deserve to earn this much, date this girl, whatever, achieve this in my life, a lot of the time it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it starts in childhood. You look at a child's, I think the Romans said this, if you show me the child's first 7 years, I'll show you the man. And but yeah, like you said, you can intervene, you can do this work on yourself, and you can definitely change anything in your life. I mean, the book, what is it, by Carol Dweck, it's about having a flexible mindset and open mindset. I can't remember the name at the moment. That's a growth mindset, I think it's called. But yeah, having that growth mindset and knowing that your brain is plastic, you can change your thoughts through actions, through doing the work like you talked about on yourself. It's not easy, but that's why there's not that many, people in the 1%, is there?
100%. So to kind of go deeper on that, because I love this topic, and I think it's very, very applicable. If you want to make a lot of money in your life, you better start working on this stuff, because you're not going to get it otherwise. So I have 7 tattoos on my body, and all of the seven tattoos link to a chapter in a book called Reality Transurfing. Have you ever heard of that?
Say that again.
Reality Transurfing. It's by a Russian quantum physicist.
No.
Okay, so I went to it with a stream of like Crypto Heartbeat, and I got like 13 pictures sent to me of like people buying the book, which is crazy because not a lot of people watch that live stream. I think like 6,000 or 7,000. And my God, that book changed my life. It really did. So I believe in religion. I believe in spirituality. I believe in a higher power. I believe we are all just energy, and that I am you and you are me, and that there is no difference in between us. I also believe that the internal renders the external. I also believe in parallel realities, where everything that ever was, everything that ever will be, and everything that ever could be already exists. And depending on the vibration of your energy, and the vibration of your energy is your emotional state. So the reason why a lot of like affirmation work doesn't work for people is because decibels is what humans use to communicate. The universe doesn't understand words. The goal of words is to invoke emotions. And when you change your emotions, you can see this on like a science, physical-based level. You change your entire vibration of your body. They can see the energy fields change. And everybody is so arrogant when it comes to, no, science says. But people seem to forget that science is literally just an attempt at understanding the universe by putting human labels on it.
Yep.
But think about nature. Think about our body. Think about how many things are happening at the exact same time. Your blood pressure, your skin, it's healing itself. It's wounds that are healing. Your brain is firing at least like some crazy number of thoughts every second, and you don't think about it. Like nature operates at such a grand scale with numbers that are incomprehensible to the human mind. But yet we are so arrogant to believe that science knows everything. And it's mainly a man-made attempt at understanding the universe. And the reason because I used to be a software engineer, right? So I used to be extremely logical about everything. But the moment I opened up myself up to spirituality, I started realizing that this is the true power. If you only believe that you are a piece of flesh, if you only believe that you are a body and you rot and you die, and that's it, there's nothing special about you, think about how weak you are making yourself with that belief system. Why not believe you are power? Why not believe you are part of God and God is a part of you? Why not believe that you can walk with God by your side? Why take that power away from you? You're literally talking yourself into being weak. What's the point in that? Even if the whole metaphysical world is a lie, at least believe in it, because it makes your life better. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's nail on the head. I mean, listen, I think, and like obviously you're going through your spiritual evolution, like most people who are, ascending upwards, that a lot of the time we get caught up with the day-to-day drudgery, right? So we're like, oh, I got stuck in traffic, and then this person pissed me off and whatever. And you're like, guys, stop. We are living on a spinning ball, or unless people believe in the flat earth, but let's say we're living on a spinning ball that revolves around the sun. We don't know why we're here. There's trillions, or more than trillions. There's innumerable amount of galaxies out there, And we're worrying about what this person said at work, or I haven't got the latest whatever iPhone. And it's just crazy, because I think when you start to open your mind up to, more than just the material reality, then yeah, I think you start to become more of a fully realized person, a fully realized man. Anyway, I can speak about being a man. I can't speak about being a woman, but when you open yourself up to a more, and obviously everyone's beliefs or what they think is different, but I think that once you achieve certain things in your life, and you know about Abraham's hierarchy of needs, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and obviously the bottom need is food and shelter. You need, you got this hierarchy of needs, and the top one is basically enlightenment, where you start seeking spiritual enlightenment. And I think even if you don't start questioning it, at least then you're leaving so much off the table in what you can experience in life.
Yeah. And money is a lot more spiritual than people tend to believe. So basically, when it comes to money, it's okay. There's this saying: not every millionaire is spiritual, but every billionaire is spiritual.
Interesting.
And that's true to that, because it's kind of a coincidence, but a lot of these billionaires seem to believe in like spiritual ideas. A lot of them believe in like astrology and stuff like that, which is kind of funny. But there's a lot of truth to that, man. And that's one thing I started noticing is people feel your energy. We think that this is not, that we cannot communicate energy, but I'm feeling your energy. People are feeling our energy, even if it's through a screen. Human beings communicate with energy. Like when I'm like traveling the world, and I have a very close connection with my mom, and basically whenever she's sad, which doesn't happen a lot, she's like a very strong woman, but whenever she's sad, I sense it. Even if I'm like a 14-hour flight away from her, I sense it. Like human beings communicate with energy. And every time I'm like, I need to call my mom. I call her and she's like in the middle of crying or something. And she's like, how did you know? I just felt it. So try explaining that stuff. Or have you ever had it where you thought of somebody and all of a sudden you get a text message?
Yeah.
We all had that. We've all had that for our entire life.
Synchronicity.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a coincidence if it happens for everybody at least 100 times in their life. Is that a coincidence? Really? Come on, guys. So I think we are just energy. I think we are spiritual beings living a temporary human experience, that we've been put on this planet to learn our lessons to go on to the next, whatever that might be. Not a planet, it could be another dimension, because if you zoom in deep enough, this table, this iPad, this iPhone, this this table. If you zoom in deep enough, everything is literally energy. It is nothingness. And that is why classical physics is getting debunked in the real time. First it was kind of string theory, now it's quantum physics. So even everybody that believes, no, this is physical and this is not energy, how can it be energy? Well, even physicists are starting to change their mind. So like I said, kind of coming back to the idea that science is man-made. If you choose to believe only in science, then how do you explain all of religion? How do you explain all of these stories of prayer working? So in the book, they have a very big idea that you constantly, it's like a mantra you repeat to yourself. And you say, I am not attached to anything. I don't desire anything. Nothing is important to me. And when you do that, you don't cause, they call it excess potential in the universe, because you just act and you just expect things to happen. Like if I walk over there and I open my door, I have like a tattoo here, it's like intention. It's a very big idea in the book. But if I walk towards that door, I'm not like, oh, will I break my foot? Will the door explode the moment I get there? No, you're just like, I'll walk to the door and I'll open it. And everything in life should be that way, because doubt is poison to the soul. When there is doubt in your body, that means you do not believe it's who you are. And the way you get rid of doubt is by constantly talking yourself into your new identity. It's like, no, this is who I am. Like, this is who I'm becoming. This is already who I am. Like, this is how that person would think. And here's one way, like for the logical brains, is every cell in your body gets replaced at some point, which means after like I don't know the exact days anymore, but every 1 or 2 weeks, you literally from a cellular level have a new body. You've become a new body. So even your body changes and it adapts and it adopts new identities based on like cells dying and cells getting renewed and cells getting reborn. So people who hold on to their past to decide their future, you are creating your own chains, because even your body is changing, yet you believe you are your old body, which is a very big idea.
Working on yourself, I think, especially once you get into your mid to late 20s, because it is sad, I think, and I'm sure you've seen this too. I've seen it with family and friends,
Yep.
They finish high school or they go to uni, and then they start their career. And no one actually overtly says this, but I look at them and I'm like, you think you know everything, and that's it. And there's kind of like, I went to uni, I went to high school, I know everything, and I'm just going to do my 9 to 5 now. And it was Socrates that said, the only thing that I know is that I know nothing at all, right? The more I find out, the more I learn in life, the more I actually find out how little I know. So having that open mindset allows you to learn more. And I think that, listen, investing in crypto and any financial assets are great, but investing in yourself is going to be the biggest thing you can do. And reading, like I said, you don't even have to go down the rabbit hole as much as maybe you've gone, or me, or anyone else, but even just questioning it, like you said about science is great, but it's only humans trying to put labels and project things onto experiments that we've done and then say, well, this is what this could be. Everything's changing, right? Apparently 9 billion years ago, this universe didn't even exist. And here we are now, me and you talking to each other from other sides of the world and discussing consciousness itself, right? If we are all one, we're discussing ourselves and how we came about. So it's really fascinating. I want to impress on everyone that, investing in yourself is the biggest thing you can do. And for me, I think you've done the same thing. It's books, it's seminars, it's stuff like meditation, cold showers. And also, I also don't want to go too airy fairy, because as I believe in energy and I believe in it, some people go too far down that scale, and they're like, it's not about action. No, we still live in a materialistic world. We still live in a world where you have to take action. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think what you're saying is, at one point you were too far down the end, this thing on the analytical, logical side, and then you started to become more spiritual and it balanced you out. And now you have a more balanced character energy. Is that correct?
I'm writing down notes because, dude, I love this conversation, man. Yeah, this is good. So the thing that you said at the end, with like becoming spiritual, the thing that I started realizing with the book is the universe always seeks balance. So when a lot of people, I used to have this like extreme underdog mentality where like, I'll fight the world, I'll fight the universe, I'll move mountains to get to where I want to go to. But that creates energy where you don't believe that it could be effortless. Why can it not be effortless? Like, it's a very important question to ask. Why does it have to be hard? It doesn't have to be hard. You can go through one of the hardest workouts of your life and enjoy every second of it. Why does it have to be hard? So it's just shifting your mindset of, okay, how do I go from I'm fighting against the universe to I'm walking with the universe. The universe is on my side. You're essentially doing the same things, but you're walking with so much more power. It is unbelievable. I can explain like close to miracles that have happened for me personally, but dude, like once you start getting spiritual and you combine it with like high performance kind of stuff, dude, you become like close to a god on earth. It's crazy. It's sometimes scary how like you can start bending reality almost.
It's hard to, as obviously me and you are both into this, but it's hard when other people hear about it because they think you've gone off the deep end and what's not. But you said, I'm not hanging out on Santa Monica Beach smoking weed all day, and I'm not living in Silicon Valley just coding all day. It's marrying those two together and having that analytical mind and seeing how the material world works, but also bringing in that spirituality. Have you read a book called Way of the Superior Man?
Yep.
Yeah, David Data. I think that should be a Bible for any young man, coming up. And it just talks about basically, the material world infused with the spiritual world and how to find your purpose in life. And it's a great book. So anyone should pick that up. But man, this has been great. I've really enjoyed having you on. Are you up for doing our 8 quick fire questions that we always do with our guests?
Dude, I can go for 8 hours for sure. Do it.
I know, dude, but we don't do long streams on here. Otherwise, we don't get the views and what's not, and people start logging off. But listen, man, you have to come back on. But before you go, if you're up for it, I'd like to do 8 quick questions with all of my guests. You can give me one answer, either from one word to one sentence. And if you're down for it, let's do it. Yeah,
let's do it.
Sweet. Okay. First one, best piece of advice you were ever given?
Identity runs your life. And if you control your identity, you control your destiny.
Favorite food?
Oh, that's a good one. What the hell's my favorite food? I like meat.
Get the protein in. First ever crypto you bought?
Ethereum.
Nice. Biggest celebrity teenage crush?
Ooh. The girl from iCarly. If any of you remember that, she had like brown hair.
From where?
iCarly. It was like a Nickelodeon or whatever. It was like a show for like kids. But she was hot. She still is hot.
Number one piece of advice for no coiners?
Don't get into crypto unless you put 100 hours in. Don't make surface level decisions.
One thing you haven't done yet, but you must do before you die?
Change the world.
Worst
or fix
investment.
the world.
Sorry, one more time.
Or fix the world.
Worst investment you ever made?
Okay, this is interesting. I would say... Oh, that's actually a good question. I've always kind of been super smart. I would say...
Could be anything. It could be a car.
Yeah. An investment when it comes to time is spending time with the wrong people and getting dragged down the wrong paths.
Very true. And last but not least, advice to your younger self?
You don't know what you're capable of.
Awesome, buddy. Listen, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Look up my name, Jake Sharpe. Jake Sharpe Crypto. The cash flow for life thing is like Telegram stuff. But basically, Jake Sharpe. Go on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I make a lot of content around like the whole PulseChain ecosystem and crypto. Potentially some of the identity work stuff, because that could really change people's life and make them millionaires. Because if you don't get your identity in check, you are wrecked. You will never succeed what you think you're capable of. And if you believe you're not worthy of $1 million, you can bet your ass you will never have $1 million. You'll find a way to subconsciously self-sabotage yourself. So like Matt was saying, man, self-improvement is the game. Like the more you improve yourself, the better off your world is going to be. It's not either or, it is and.
Health is wealth, and that means the mindset too. So listen, buddy, this is great having you on. I really appreciate your content. You'll have to come back on and we'll talk everything from crypto to training to identity shifting. It's amazing, man. So listen, thanks for coming on. Stay in contact. And when PulseChain goes live, definitely make an appearance again on the channel. I love this. This was good. Peace, brother. Peace. Jake, what a legend, man. A new upcoming content creator with, a super, super interesting background. So definitely go and follow him on Twitter, on YouTube, and all that good stuff. Guys, if you like live stream interviews with great guests like this, do hit that subscribe button and that bell button so you're notified every time we drop new videos on the channel. You can also tap the like button and drop a comment below for the algo if you're watching the playback. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.